Hey guys, Captain Matt here with who am I? Blah, 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 blah. I was gonna say Lifetime Lighting, but I really meant Lighting Trade School. Lifetime Lighting is a sponsor, and we obviously have the founder on this podcast every time, which is Mr. Nate, the Illuminator Mullen. Nate, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How you guys doing? Good to see you, Glo Daddy. Good to see you, Captain Matt.
Doing good. Where are you at?
Yeah,
That's a
you have
cool
the
spot.
lake in the mountains.
Well, I don't know if I like my lake house, mountain house. Do you see the lake in the background?
No, we
No.
see the
No?
mountains.
Yeah, well, it's a Big Bear Lake. So it's, I
Okay.
guess if I zoomed in, you'd be able to see the lake in the background. So I guess I call it the mountain house.
No,
I have a lake house. So, but there's a lake here. They call it Big Bear Lake.
it's not the Lake Havasu in Arizona house. It's the other one.
It's the other lake house.
And on this episode, Nate will complain about those rich fuckers who don't understand.
Well, in full disclosure, it's one of the smartest things I bought. It's a fractional home, so I only owe one tenth of it. So I got 1/10 the expense. So it's a very affordable second home because when you have a second home,
Fourth
it's
one.
not like you, well, yeah, whatever. It's not like you can come up all the time. So you can really
Sure.
come up 4 or 5 weeks a year. So I get 4 weeks guaranteed. I usually can get a fifth. You barely come up for 4 or 5 weeks. So it
Yeah,
ends
but
up
I
being
guess
a
the
very, very affordable.
downside for like everyone else is Nate Mullen comes in before them. Like I've seen how you treat hotel rooms.
Well, no, I'm a, I'm an owner here, so none of that shit applies.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
about you, Glo Daddy? What's going on with you? You're in your office. I guess we never talked about what is this little black room? Are you what's that in the background too? You got some new artwork back there?
I did. I put it there because I was like, I'm going to hang it on the wall behind me, and I just haven't gotten a chance to hang it on the wall. But if I set it there, I'll eventually do it.
Sure.
All right. Well, we know what the date is today, and we're going to see how many fucking episodes it takes for you to hang that photo up.
Well, now that if all eyes are on me, I want to make sure I get it done.
I actually like it there. I don't think you should hang it up.
Just leave it
Oh
there.
man.
A little pop of color. A buddy of mine painted it. He used to be an artist. That's
Yeah,
a story.
used to be an artist, I can tell. Nothing.
Well,
He still is an artist. He's
Well,
like a traveling artist.
all used to be artists always end up giving their shit away because they can't sell it. So they're like, "Oh, here's a gift. Take it. I gift to you."
I bought it. I don't know. It was like this house of like rockers. Like we'd go over there and party all the time. Like we were teenagers, so like they could buy us beer because they're like 6 years older, and they would paint. And like one of them had a guitar band. It was a funny, interesting time.
Nice. That's
Well,
awesome.
it looks like not only you drink beer, it looks like that guy dropped some acid. Looking at that picture
Oh, yeah.
back there.
Definitely did acid. Yeah, they were all rockers.
All right, I got some things to bring up this topic. I got some beef with Nate, but before we jump into that, let's talk about the sponsor, Lifetime Lighting. They just launched the Titan, which is the new family of lights coming out. Nate is going to go ahead and tell us a little 5 minutes or less, 2 minutes or less. What's up with the Titan? It's replacing the Mariner, or what's the story there?
So we used to have a fixture called the Mariner with an integrated one watt lamp, and I really liked it. And we ended up taking it. It's a very common fixture. It's just a small little 1.5 inch diameter, low profile. Was really the intention of that fixture, and everybody has this fixture, so it's not like, hey, any big secret as far as an invention here, but it was made to core drill into hardscape, into pavers, and an ID light, if you will. Well, we liked it so much, we ended up doing a lot of other different things where they came up with a bunch of attachments, just made it into a subterranean well light, made it into a downlight, so on and so forth. But it's one of the only things that I buy from China besides my light bulbs because it's an integrated light bulb. So I was forced to buy it from China. Well, China being China with the tariffs, and I fucking hate China. So I truly hate them. Matter of fact, I hate them so much, everything I wear says fuck China on it. That's how much I hate China. Not Chinese people, but China. They're evil motherfuckers. So anyway, That's a different podcast. We could talk about that.
Keep going. Titan, Titan,
So,
Titan.
so it forced me to build the Titan, which all of the product, as you guys know, is made in America. So I had to come up and I developed the Titan. So it's a replacement for the Mariner. Now to drop in MR16, I'm sorry, MR11. So we have massive amounts of Kelvin temperatures, beam spread, some wattages, and then it does many, many things. It really changes it about 10 fixtures. It can be stake mounted. It can be dropped in. It has a, obviously a wedge spring uh, device on it that holds it into 2-inch pipes, so it can be subterranean. It can be cored into soffits, and it can. There's a stake mount for it. It can a knuckle be attached to it. You can hang it with a chain and a ring from a tree. It has a dock attachment to it, so it's going to change into probably 15 different fixtures. Longer shrouds, shorter shrouds. We call them like an Omega, with massive glare shields. So it's going to be a super, super handy fixture. And I would venture to say that if you were doing a 100 light job, 40 of them will be the Titan. They're very affordable, right? They're definitely 30, 40% cheaper than, say, a core fixture. Like we all have core fixtures, our A items, which are bullets and floodlights maybe. So it'll be very affordable, which is nice because you're gonna get the same price for the Titan as you would, say, a bullet light. So you're gonna put more money in your pocket. It's lower wattage. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. And we've got lots of new attachments coming out. But yeah, so
Okay,
super
sweet.
excited.
So it's like kind of it's kind of like a mini creator. It's I'm
Yeah.
excited to use it.
Yep.
I think
Mini
it's gonna be
creator.
great on like we did the Illuminati Lounge Club, and there's that porch, and we're gonna mount it to the house. Well, that roof of the porch is only 8 feet tall. I think a Titan's probably going to be the play here going forward for me when I'm doing those porches instead
Yeah,
of full blown creator.
Yep, no, you can. It'll be a huge advantage. It'll take all the attachments. It'll have an M1 attachment, right? So it
Mm,
can be take a wall mount, gutter mount, rings, right? It
awesome.
could take metallic trim. So yeah, it's going to be it's really the mini sister of the creator.
Is molded, made, everything's American, like all the other fixtures, minus the
The
lamp.
only everything's 100% American made, with the exception the light bulbs, of course, are proprietary, and they obviously are made in China. But other than that, yeah, it's all
Sweet.
USA made shit.
All
Hmm.
right. Now on to my issue. Nate, I got some fucking beef with you. So I was talking to a couple guys last week, and they told me something that I didn't know that you've been doing. And they were contacted by competitors of yours, I guess. And they told them that they need to be careful working with you because of your 24-volt system. You've burned down a bunch of houses. Now, first off, why the fuck have you not told me that you've been burning down houses and you just been selling me this fucking product?
Well, you know as well as I do, I secretly sell hot dogs on the side. So when you burn down fucking houses, it's an advantage to always have hot dogs in the fucking cooler. At least you got some goddamn excuse. You got a roasting fire. No, I mean, this pisses me off. I want you to find out who these motherfuckers are, because they are 100% liars. I actually, when I owned Unique Lighting, I had to actually spend over $1 million in suing people for not only patent infringement, but for exactly this. So I'm going to tell you a story about how real this was. So they would go out, this one company, which, hey, I don't give a shit. It was FX Lighting, Lumiere. They're a prominent they're probably, a $50 million company owned by $1 billion company. So the guy I sued, old owner, so it's not a reflection of the new company, but I literally had to sue them because what they did, this is how sneaky this motherfucker was. He actually went out to a testing laboratory in San Diego, paid the guy by the name of Charles Hollingsworth, paid him to write a report, a white paper about the dangers of my multi-cap transformer that used to go from 12 to 22 volts, and literally said that I will burn down, cause serious injury and death, right, in this white report. Sent this white report to the president of John Deere, which I used to sell fucking $1 million a year to plus, which is a $7 billion company back in the day. Sent it to him. And of course, they're freaking out that I'm burning down houses and I can cause serious injury or death. So of course I sue FX, right? And then I sue the testing laboratory. And then I knew that there were liars, right? Because my transformers don't burn down houses. So I know they're liars. So I hired a videographer and I taped this in the depositions. I got Josh, who was the ex-owner of FX. I got him to say that yes, he bribed and paid Charles Hollingsworth, which was a sales guy, to write the report. Gives him the documentation. Josh adds in his words: burning down houses, serious injury, or death. He puts those words in. So I have all this on videotape. He even at one point said he was God that he could write this. Right now, I have copies of the videotape. I have copies of the white report, which I've never even shared this with you guys, which is why I guess you have a beef with me, because maybe I should have told you that these motherfuckers will come out of the woodwork as soon as we start gaining traction, and it's just a repeat of history. So anyway, I sued them, and of course they had to send 10,000 retractions out. Right, had to tell everybody. Now, what was really cool about this, because I had this 2-3 hour videotape. I took the highlights of the videotape, which was, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes. I'm God, he says. I did it. I typed it on my computer. I bribed and paid Charles Hollingsworth, right? I looped this, brought to the IA, which is the Irrigation Association, the biggest landscape convention in the world, international, right? And of course, I have a booth there. I've got the biggest fucking TV I could back in those days, which I don't remember what, 48 inch or 52 inch, whatever it was. And I looped this, right? So every single person would walk by to see with Josh on this big screen TV saying, I'm God, I wrote it, right? I did it all. So this backfired on him like you couldn't believe. He freaks out, right? I go up to his fucking booth. I ask him to come over if he can sign autographs, right? Because I said, hey, I got a whole bunch of these fucking papers that you wrote that are liars, that you lied on. Would you sign them so I can hand them out to people? Of course, that pisses him off, right? But he goes and complains to the kangaroo court of the Irrigation Association. They came and they asked me to, take the TV down. But of course, I didn't do it until I got every single one of my customers. And my customers were like John Deere, right? Hydroscape. You would have, Century Rainade, Site Ones, right? Florida Irrigation, massively big companies. And they're freaking out, thinking that I'm going to burn down houses. So it's the most craziest thing in the world that they would go to that extent of having to literally lie and be deceitful like that. And why did they do it? Why are they doing it today? I guess you can only think they're doing it today because, we're gaining traction like I did at my last company. So, as we go a 24 volt DC system. And if anybody out there has been told this and you want to talk to me directly, I think everybody's got my phone numbers, or my phone numbers are not hidden, right? I can, go probably deeper into the thing and tell you other fucking people I've had to sue over shit like this.
Well, before you go on, I got a question, because you said you sued them. Well, that doesn't mean anything, right? We can sue anybody. So tell us what they were actually saying. Obviously, they said you burned down houses causing serious injury to death. But what was it that they were saying that was untrue besides that claim? Like the transformers using 24 volt, it's not more dangerous than 12 volt. Like, what is the thing that made it sue worthy? Because obviously you spent money on it. So what were they saying versus what is true?
Okay, well,
He left.
in the white, well, no, I'm back. I'm sitting outside and I just had some papers blow away. I had to go grab them. Wind comes up here. So in that white report, it was really all about, a testing laboratory testing things, right? So how they didn't perform the testing was really doesn't really matter, because at the conclusion of every test, we burn up houses, right? We cause serious injury or death, right? And that's the scary thing. Now, what they would say, obviously, right, there's obviously multi-claims when you sue somebody. They would go around and tell people that 20 and 22 volts melts the wire. You're putting in a 12 volt landscape lighting system, you're buying 12 volt wire. They would say you are right, burning up the wire, another potential danger, because obviously it's 12 volt wire, I'm putting 22 volts through it, gonna burn up the wire. So there was a lot of claims like this, and which is really crazy, because when you look at wire, 95% of the wire made, it says it's good for 150 volts, right? So you would just on the wire would say 120 volts or 150 volts, and at the very least, all wires rated for 30 volts, right? And back in the day when this happened, all wire was rated for 150 volts. So it was just a backfire because you would just hold up the wire and say 150 volts, right? But they, we were gaining so much traction at Unique. We really were the transformer company, so we had our transformers. Even though you might buy a competitor's fixtures, you always bought a Unique transformer, right? Built them in America. We were basically every major distributor in the United States, and so we were, and it was so stupid when you think about it. And this is another little backstory, I guess, was why they sued and why they do what they do. So when I got into landscape lighting in 1990, I wanted to be a low voltage lighting contractor, and I read the same voltage drop formula everybody else did. It was produced by Nightscaping, and it was the wrong formula. So in the very first number one landscape lighting job that I did, I realized I had massive voltage. I was getting 6, 7 volts to the halogen fixtures, and I double checked my voltmeter, of course, double checked the math. Everything's great. I call the owner of Nightscaping up, and he tells me that I'm wrong. Well, fuck, I'm not wrong. I'm an electrical contractor. I have massive engineering books. I'm not a stupid guy. So instantly, I figure out the formula is wrong. Instantly, right? I develop and I invent the multi-tap transformer, right, from the experience of my very first job. So within months, it took me, I blew up hundreds and hundreds of transformers developing this transformer, literally blew them up. So it took months and months and months and hundreds of transformers to develop the multi-tap transformer, which is still in existence today. So now I'm getting traction because everybody's endorsing, every manufacturer out there endorsed, right, this fake voltage drop formula. They put it in their catalogs, they endorsed it. So every single manufacturer aligned themselves against me. I'm wrong, they're right. Well, I would just go to trade shows, I'd take 100, 200 feet of wire, show you in person. Their formula says you should have 12 volts and you would have 6. So I started gaining traction with every distributor, right? So now, I mean, they're liars. They're losing market share. They lost all the market share with transformers. I dominated the low voltage lighting industry, right, on the green industry side, right? So it pisses them off. So it took them, what was it, year 2000, 2001. So it took them 5 to 6 years for them to come out with their own version of a multi-tap transformer, which they stopped at 15 volts. Everybody did. And I ended up, I went to 22 volts. So they hated me because I gained market share and I exposed that they're liars. And they knew they were lying. I mean, it's not, they don't own their own voltmeter. They could, in 1 second, they could check if I'm a liar or not. And obviously, if I was a liar, they would have destroyed me. But because they continued with that lie for 6 years, right, it allowed me to have the largest landscape lighting company as far as transformers, and then we got into fixtures and so on and so forth. So it's just, I think, a natural progression. We're a threat to people. It's happening again today because everybody pushes the AC magnetic transformer. We're the only company that pushes 24 volts, which is crazy, and we're the only company that pushes DC. So we're 24 volt DC. They're going around telling people that, yeah, we're burning up houses. They're going to tell you that we're against code. They're going to tell you all these things. Well, code is 30 volts DC, 15 volts AC. So what does that tell you? That DC is twice, right, is safe as AC. So we go 30 volts, they go 15. Here's a great story, which is Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, and everybody knows Nikola Tesla invented the AC motors, right? So Thomas Edison's 100% DC. So he's in New York. He's trying to get his, Westinghouse trying to back him, and they're trying to push the infrastructure of Edison, right? Power grid. It's all DC. The problem with DC, right, is you can't step it up and step it down, right? So it's not good for infrastructure across the United States, but it is safer. So Tesla's pushing AC. So Thomas Edison takes an elephant, a fucking elephant, and puts it in Times Square and takes his DC and shocks the elephant. Nothing happens to the elephant. Elephant standing, right, eating fucking peanuts probably out of his hand. Then he takes AC and same voltage and shocks and kills in front of the crowd and kills the elephant with AC. That's a true story, right? Shows you that AC is more dangerous, right? It really fucked Tesla, right? Because hey, right? No one, it shows you the dangers of AC. So we're allowed to go 30 volts DC in a wet location. 15 volts on AC. Now, so when I sit there and
Hold
when I
on,
sit
hold
there
on,
and
hold on, hold on. Let's all come up for a breath. I saw Shane. He took a nap. I saw him get his blankie ready.
I'm thinking Thomas Edison should be in jail, right?
Yeah.
well, he'd be
Nowadays.
in PETA jail today for sure. Imagine that shit.
I
Yeah.
did have 2 comments. Now that Matt created a small gap and Nate can breathe. The you said that they said that the wire is only can handle 12 volts and not 24 volts or more. I mean,
Yeah.
that has always been true that copper is copper, right? It doesn't know what the voltage is unless you tell it. I mean, just like
Well,
Christmas
yeah.
ST1 wire is 120 volts, and it's the exact same as landscape wire, just thicker sheathing.
Yeah, well, copper fundamentally, I mean, you look up and you got overhead power lines, it's got the same copper that we have in the ground, and it's taken, 20, 30,000 volts. So copper is copper. It's just the insulation rating, right? You got insulation that's good for 20,000 volts. You got insulation rating that's good for 600. You got insulation rating that's good for 120, 150, so on and so forth. So yeah, but they were just telling people that it would melt the wire. And they say it would melt the wire, so whether they meant the insulation or the copper wire, couldn't tell you. It's just those words. It's going to melt the wire. House is going to catch on fire, right? Very scary to contractors, obviously, let alone
Right.
homeowners. But we sold to contractors.
And
Yeah,
real
so I
quick,
mean,
Shane,
Idiot.
before you ask that next question, this ties right into that because I think it's good to know the wires can melt, right? I want to point that out because we talk about wires melting, and so we're talking about a 12 volt, 24 volt, whatever system. But we all know that wires have melted on these. Like we do it at training when we show people how to make, when you touch them together, how you can make really extreme heat. So I just want to be clear, wires can melt. It's not like we're saying wires don't melt, right?
no, I'm gonna get into that in a minute when you allow me to. Fuck yeah, wires can melt. Yeah, you can melt wires and catch houses on fire. I mean, look at how many automobile fires are in the United States, right? You almost can't drive down a fucking freeway and you see some fire truck out there and somebody's car is on fire, right? There are tens of thousands that vehicles catch on fire every year, and it's a 12-volt system, right? So
So
yeah,
you said that we're the only company that does 24 DC, and that may have been true. I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, but I think there's a lot of companies that are kind of like following that trajectory and are getting smart. I know S4 like has a whole line that's 24 volts. Inline is 24 volts. Some Christmas companies are 24 volts. American Lighting. So like just thinking like there's some that are smart now, and they are doing
so
12 and 12.
Yeah, so I don't do permanent lighting. I don't do linear lighting. I don't do Christmas lighting. So I'm a landscape lighting guy. So when I say I'm the only landscape lighting company out there, right, really doing 24 volt DC, right, it really is a true statement. Right now, you go back my electrical days. I mean, 24 volts has been around fucking forever. I didn't invent 24 volt. Every goddamn linear light, right, every movie theater in the United States has 24 volt
I was gonna say,
lighting or
and a lot of you
120
guys
volt
listening
lighting.
to this
So it's not,
are
I
in.
invented 24 volts,
Well, I was gonna
you
say a lot of
know?
the guys listening to this are going to be in
So
permanent lighting, soffit lighting, and every system for soffit lighting
yeah,
is DC, and they're either 12 or 24, and there's even a few
yeah,
that are higher than that. There's a reason new
yeah.
companies are using
So
DC, right? I mean, because it's the smarter play and the higher voltage.
yeah, I mean, it just, when you design a system, right, from the ground floor. So when first of all, when I started this lighting company, when my non-compete ran out, which was 7 years for Toro, I wanted to start a new lighting company. Now I'm the inventor of the multi-tab transformer. So whatever transformer our listeners are using, I invented that transformer. I did, right? So they're using my transformer that I invented in the year 2000. So here we fast forward to today. The transformer was invented for halogen, right? And it was a fuse transformer. I had the only fuse transformer, replaceable fuse transformer in the fucking world for landscape lighting. Everybody else used a resettable circuit breaker, which is super fucking dangerous. So The inventor of the multi-tap transformer that our listeners are using doesn't use it because it's inherently dangerous. So getting back to what you said a second ago, Matt, that can wires burn up? Yeah, so we'll do a testing. So when you take an AC transformer that has a resettable circuit breaker, and they're typically 25 amp resettable circuit breaker, and they trip on heat, so they typically don't trip to 32 amps. So when you take 18.2, which a lot of people use 18.2, a lot of people use 22. Typically a socket wire is going to be 20 or 22 gauge. Mine's a little bit bigger, but we promote 18.2 just like everybody does, right? So it's good for 8 amps. So when you have a short that's developed in the field, and you can take that 18.2 and directly create a short, you're going to get maybe a 20, 22 amp short, something like that, right? Depending on the length, from the power source. The closer it is, the more higher the amperage, further is way the lower amperage. But we'll take it and we'll do a direct short. We'll have, I don't even remember it right now, we'll have 16, 18, 20 amps on it. And of course, it doesn't trip the 25 amp circuit breaker and AC magnetic transformer. And then within 10 minutes, that fucking wire's melting, right? Melting. Dangerous as fuck. Why on earth that these manufacturers do shit like this? It's crazy. So my background's electrical. We would never be able to do this. When you have a 14 gauge wire, it has to be no bigger than a 15 amp breaker. When you have 12 gauge wire, it could be no smaller, I should say. I'm sorry, no smaller than no larger than a 15 amp breaker. And then 12.2 is no larger than a 20 amp breaker, right? They don't even allow us to use 18.2, right? But we can use 18.2 technically in landscape lighting, but now these manufacturers are allowing you to hook up 18.2 to a 25 amp breaker. It's beyond dangerous. So what's so funny, right, is these accusers telling people that we're dangerous. They're fucking dangerous. Really? I mean, I literally, Shane and Matt, you guys should remind me. I will do a video and I will burn up that fucking wire so people can, we'll do it just like I do it in person at the seminars. So it's beyond dangerous to use that AC magnetic transformer, right? Because of the thermal. Now they could do it smarter. They could have replaceable fuses. They could use a bus fuse that's replaceable. You could go down to 1 amp, 2 amp, 3 amp, 4 amp. So when you look at Ford and Chevy and every automobile manufacturer in the world, when you look at the fuse box, they don't have all 25 amp fuses in there. No, they have 20 amp fuses, 1 amp fuses, 2 amp fuses, 3 amp fuses, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have every goddamn increment of fuse in 1 amp increments all the way up because they fuse per load. Per load. They don't even fuse per wire. Their wire that they use could be 18 or 16, which would be good for 6, 8 amps, whatever the size they're using. They don't even fuse per amperage of the wire, which is fundamentally safe. They fuse per load. So if anything happens, hopefully that fuse trips and they don't ever have anything go wrong, like the car fucking burns up on the side of the freeway. So we back at Unique, if I was going to do the multi-tap transformer again or anything, which I never would for LEDs, but it would be a replaceable fuse, not a thermal resettable breaker, which is inherently dangerous. But the other thing is when you build a system from the ground floor, which I'm the only company that does, and I'm proud of that shit. I call it the power management system, right? Everybody typically flies to China, pulls shit off the shelf. They buy these generic fucking China transformers. They use China wire and they use China fucking fixtures, and they call themselves a system. Now, a system is things that are matched. So I take DC power supplies, 24 volt, that are matched with my custom-made wire, that are matched with my custom-made light bulbs and fixtures. And because of that, we're about 300% more efficient because we don't have volt amps. Everybody knows what VA is. It's called volt amps. So when you take, an AC transformer and you put it to a DC light bulb, what's that?
I said, I reckon everyone does not know what that means. Sorry, just interrupting you. But not everyone knows what volt amps are.
No, that's why guys hate it because they have to do math, right? I was talking to 2 guys this week. And they were asking, how many fixtures can I place on a power supply? Because other manufacturers have it, right? And I said, well, I can't answer that, right? And then they told me the lamp they were using, which was whatever. It was an MR16 4 watt. On that website, it lists with the VA and everything, it actually is 4.96 watts. So I was able to show them over the course of, you're putting 30 lights on, 2 lights, no big deal, right? You're not going to really even see that. Once you put 20, 30, 40 lights on, that 0.9, almost an additional watt per lamp, that shit adds up quick. So guys are having to do math in the field rather than just, hey, a 4 watt's a 4 watt.
So that's VA. It's called volt amps because that just tells you that the DC light bulbs hates having alternating current go to it, so it has to go through. We'll just call this conversion, right? When you think about it, and that's a pretty efficient VA right there, 25%, Matt. Typically, a 4 watt's going to pull like 6.77. 10 watts going to pull 16 or 17, right? Now, when you think about this, LEDs hate two things, and they fail generally for two things. They fail for water intrusion, right? And they fail for heat, right? So when you take a bulb that was designed at 4 watts and their thermal properties are trying to remove the heat from the LED, now it's pulling I don't know if I've ever seen a 4 watt bulb pull 5. Usually it's closer to 6.4, 6.5, 6.7. But regardless, when it's designed at 4 watts and now the thermal properties cannot remove the heat as good, the LED is gonna be at a higher temperature, right? And that kills an LED. It's like taking an engine, right, and your F-150 truck, and you load it up with fucking cement, and you're going up a fucking hill. It struggles and it barely makes it, and it hates it. That's what volt amps are. It's loading it up with fucking bricks going up a hill. So it hates it. And there's a thing in electrical called thermal runaway, right? That the hotter something gets, the less efficient it gets. The less efficient it gets, the hotter it fucking gets. The hotter it fucking gets, the less efficient it is. It's called thermal runaway. So it ends up being beyond inefficient, right? That's why electrical things hate heat, and then it gets into thermal runaway. So anyway, it's really,
when you go down your rabbit hole of electrical talk, I imagine that's how like Elon Musk or Einstein feels talking to regular folks. Like Matt and I just kind of glaze over because you are way over my head. I'm just a regular dipshit. Nate, you're the smartest guy I know, and I appreciate that I could just call you when I have this question, because it is impossible to know like the decades of knowledge to like absorb into my non-electrical brain.
well, I think we're all fucking dumb when it comes to something, but for me, I wanted to focus. When I was an electrical contractor, I wanted to become a really good, talented electrical contractor, and I focused on one thing, which is multifamily, so I became super good at it. When I did landscape lighting, I wanted to focus on landscape lighting. I don't want to light up bridges. I don't want to light up fucking skyscrapers. I want to light up goddamn trees and homes. And I became very good at it, and I had to self-study because of all the bullshit out there, which is still out there today, which is amazing. Like obviously the topic today is all bullshit. But I do want to at least tell people that, so when I built the system from the ground floor, I call it a power management system. And then so you have to have the heart of this system. You have to have the heart of the system, which is, a power driver, which is technically a transformer, but it's a power driver. And then you have to have wiring and wiring methods, the infrastructure to get the power to the LED, right? So it takes a minimum of those 4 things, right? So it has to be a matched system for it to work correctly. And the reason you need it to work correctly is because LEDs inherently require a lot of specific things because they're electrical, right? So they require surge protection from, we all know that electric spikes. So just think of lightning. Lightning hits, it fucking destroys everything. Well, there's surges in our electrical grid. We have the worst electrical grid probably in the world anymore. It's fucking terrible. So there's surges all the time. So you got to have surge protection, at least up to what I say 4K. So our power supplies are surge protected to 4K. You have to have some type of overcurrent protection. So you have to have levels of security. And you got to have thermal overcurrent. You got to have short circuit overcurrent, right? And then you have to have voltage protection. And again, with the surge protection, that immunity comes in. So you have to have levels of security to protect the light bulb because they're just a fragile little electronic device, right? You have to have onboard power conditioning. So LEDs, they hate, right, the instability of the AC grid. So if you take a voltmeter, right, to your deal, hey, it could be at 120, then 119, 118.9, 121.2. So it's going to fluctuate 1,000 times a day. Well, that's like just fucking pinging the LED. It hates that unstable voltage. So it hurts it. It generates more heat. Where our power supplies, power drivers, they're constant level. There's no pinging. So it's constant voltage. It has a lower inrush current. We've all sat there and seen like an air conditioner on our house. You turn the air conditioner on, the lights go dim. It's called inrush current. AC magnetic transformer have a massive surge of electricity and a massive surge of inrush current. That fucking inrush current multiplies to an LED right? And halogen, who gives a shit, didn't really affect it, but LEDs, it does affect them. It affects things, right? So it has a super low inrush current. There's no internal flickering, right? It has a constant and stable voltage, like I said. There's no dirty power, and our power supplies have active power, PFC, so power factor correction. So there's just a lot of things that LEDs require that the AC magnetic transformers don't, and they live happier, right? And they have a longer life, and they run cooler. So why would I not give them the required, right, voltage, required, right, DC that the engineers developed? So when you think about this, is the everything in the world, this is pretty powerful, everything in the world that is electronic, TVs, chargers, modems, right, my laptop, stereo equipment, DVD players, everything in the world, right, that has electronic, has a little black attached to it. No, and that conditions the power and converts it from AC to DC. So it gets us through DC. The only exception to everything in the world is lighting manufacturers in the United States. The only thing that uses an AC magnetic transformer. It's fucking hilarious when you think about it. So,
it's old technology.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you've been talking for like 30 minutes, and are you fucking burning down houses or not?
Long story short, no. No, you have to check your PFC and your PMX, and regulate your flux capacitor.
Well, yeah, we all know that, though. That's obvious.
Yeah. So
we have the safest system out there, right? All the wire is good for the higher voltage, 30 volts, which is not high, but I mean, think about this, Matt. Every irrigation system in the world is 24 volts. Okay, every irrigation system,
water goes right through
little.
I can use my wire to water my lawn. Like, just water goes right through the. That's fucking.
Yeah.
It's
still
what's a rectifier?
Purpose.
Quick question. Short answer. 10-second answer. What's a rectifier?
It converts it AC to DC.
So everyone who listens to this that uses Christmas lights, there's a little rectifier on that thing. What does that tell us? I'm plugging into 120 for my Christmas lights, and there's this little thing when we're using LED. Most have it. It's a rectifier. What is that happening then? If I'm plugging my Christmas lights in that are LED and that's a rectifier, what happens to that, Nate? Are they still running 120 and it just makes it cleaner?
DC. So it's 120 DC now. It's not 120 AC. So it converts it
LED.
right now. It won't be it's going to only convert it to DC. It doesn't do all the other things that I just went over with our power drivers, right? So if you take a 75 watt electronic transformer, a rectifier that converts it just from AC to DC, they can be the size of a matchbook. Okay, so the size of a matchbook or a pack of cigarettes. How about that? A little bit smaller than a pack of cigarettes. 75 watt. Our 75 watt power driver that does all these things I mentioned is probably 10 times bigger than a pack of cigarettes because of all these things that it accomplishes that the LEDs require and need. So so that's just a rectifier. Okay.
Cool. I just wanted to bring
and the
that.
Reason they do that, well, the reason they do that is because those LEDs, you can't run them on AC.
They flicker, right?
No, well, they will flicker.
Camera?
And correct. Yeah, on a cell phone camera, they start flickering, and they don't work at all. But so every single LED needs to have DC to it. What's that?
So there you go. You should just start with the Christmas analogy. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and irrigation, right? Every irrigation valve, every irrigation system is 24 volt, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Awesome.
So when you think about it again,
Matt, they lied to you and they are uneducated. I actually don't know if they're technically lying, right? Or are they just regurgitating something that they heard?
Well, it's a lie, regardless of whether they're regurgitating. It's still a lie. They're telling. Well, they know it's a lie.
They are telling a lie, but they don't know they're telling a lie. There's a small difference from knowing that you're telling a lie.
If I'm going to tell people that someone's burning down fucking houses, I'm going to make sure that shit's true.
Yeah.
That is pretty serious claim.
It's a hugely serious claim. You're talking about a man's livelihood. You don't fuck around with that. If you're going to talk about something, you better make sure it's true. when you're talking about something that vital, because it's not just Nate they're talking about, it's me they're talking about, it's you they're talking about, and every other one of us who's out there using lifetime lighting. They're taking shots out of my fucking son's mouth. They're trying to take food out of his fucking mouth, and they're liars. You can easily find out if it's true or not. So no, they don't get a pass because they didn't know it's fucking true. Get me all fucking riled up, Shane.
I agree with that. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's bullshit, right? And I don't give a shit if they're ignorant or doing whatever, because it's
I
like calling
agree.
somebody a fucking, it's like calling somebody a fucking pedophile. You just don't call someone a pedophile without fucking finding out if that's a true statement, because it ruins his fucking life,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You know what? This can ruin your fucking life, right? You know? So yeah, fuck these motherfuckers, man. It pisses me off, and I can't, I love meeting them, so I can fucking, I love going up to them. I love taking my fucking hand and squeezing their goddamn fucking cheeks so their fucking teeth are out there. So I can sit there and go, yeah, you know, when your teeth are all rotting with all the bullshit coming out of your mouth.
You know, you
right?
started like this, and I
You
thought
know?
you were grabbing something
Yeah,
else.
no, yeah, it's what it takes to do fucking big lighting jobs, big set of cojones. But hey, real quick, the positive side is, you know, why do you go 4 volts and not, you know, besides DC, which is, you know, inherently safer and the LEDs require, why don't I go 12 volts DC? So we're going to get twice the amount of power. If the National Electrical Code allows me to go 24 volts because it's safe, I'm going to go double the distance. I'm going to get twice as many fixtures, you know, on 12.2 or 14.2 or 18.2. So I'm going to save resources. So, you know, these people want to talk about a green system. Well, 12 volt AC is not green. We're about 300%. With 24 volt DC, we're about 300% more efficient. Well, that's a green system. So that's a really nice selling point. I save resources on Mother Earth. The higher the voltage, we don't ever use 12.2 anymore. Very, very rarely. We use a lot of 14.2. That saves resources for Mother Earth. And there's a lot of people that want to save resources. We're really everybody throws out this, they're sustainable and they're fucking bullshit. Right? When you're fucking using, like, I did a calculation, it's like 73 billion watts of electricity we save by the higher voltage. Higher the voltage, more the, you know, higher the wattage that can put on it. So when you think about 12 volts, and if you just took 12.2 just for fun, it's good for about 200 watts. Well, that's 50 4-watt LEDs. Well, if I have a 24 volt system, that's 100 4-watt LEDs, twice as many, 50 to 100. If I had a 120 volt system, I would be able to put 2,000, Jesus Christ, 500 4-watt LEDs. Imagine that, 10 times more power. I got 500 4-watt LEDs.
That would have been a great skit for Captain Planet.
You know?
You guys ever watch
Captain Planet, Earth.
Yeah.
Heart.
Who's Captain? Who's Captain Planet? Oh, yeah, gotcha. But anyway, so, you know, everybody knows, you know, everybody knows in my world, if you will, higher the voltage, right, the better it is, the more efficient it is, right? It's like you don't have a 120 volt air conditioner sitting outside. You got a 220 volt air conditioner. You got a 220 volt welder. So,
yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Well, hey, real quick before we go, Shane, I got a question for you. I know I'm super pumped. King of the Hill is doing their reboot August 4th, and that's got to be like Texas royalty, right? I mean, is that like a day off in Texas for the King of the Hill launch?
No, I don't think so. It was King of the Hill in Texas.
Oh, oh my God, it's the greatest show in the world, and it is based in Texas. Hank Hill sells propane and propane accessories.
Classic. Well, I did not know that. Thank you for sharing.
You let me down as a Texan, but I still love you.
School's still in session. Nothing changes. You know, hey, we're about to go, but just to reiterate, we do have the dates, right, for the advanced training in February.
Yeah.
Which I'm like super excited for. As you can tell, my wife's special, named Special. Yeah, that we're going to block this off. And it's like 7 months away, but like I'm still like looking forward to it. Looking forward to go out in the desert a couple weeks before to ride with you guys and have fun, and then come back late February to chat lights, all three of us.
Hell yeah. Where are we going to go to learn about that?
I was waiting for one of you guys to answer. Right outside of San Diego, Valley View, Valley Center.
No, I meant the website.
Website, not where it's at. Well, it's outside of San Diego, if that's what you meant. But website, yeah, check. Is it live on lightingtradeschool.com now?
No, sir.
No, well, go there. It'll eventually be on there.
As you can tell, we are a well-oiled machine here when it comes to our websites and product placements and service placements. We'd spend a lot of time before the shows really talking about when we're going to insert them. We miss them most of the time. So,
Well,
love you
So I
guys.
guess, I guess, Matt, maybe we don't have to have the detail today, but at least if we put the dates on the website, at least
Sure.
people can put the dates on their calendar. Because it's nice to be able to block out those dates because we're all busy.
Hell yeah.
Well,
All right, guys.
do it.
I'm looking forward to it too. And I'll see you guys on the other side. Everyone else, have a great week. Go make some money.
Hey, man, have a good week.